In 1961, at Royal Birkdale, his second at the 18th in the final round needed to go in the hole. If it did, he would tie with Arnold Palmer. Henry Longhurst describes that tense moment.
Now here, diaries, and the last hole, and this to tie. Well, what a fine try. What a fine shot.
The Rees fighting spirit was summed up by Palmer, the man who beat him.
Well, certainly he has been a very fine player through the years, and probably one of the greatest scrappers and greatest hitters of the ball in the world, I think, and has certainly been an inspiration to all golfers.
That 1961 Open defeat must have hurt badly, but at the presentation, Dye could still joke about it.
Well, Mr. Captain, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Champion, ladies and gentlemen, this has come as a tremendous surprise to me, I can assure you. It's a surprise that it isn't the first one, really, but as a matter of fact, I had my speech all written out for the first prize, so I don't know what on earth to say now. But ladies and gentlemen, seriously, I'm delighted to have done as well as I have. I wonder why these fellows just keep coming over here. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I slipped up to let Locke win his first Open. I slipped up here in 1954, and Peter Thompson won his first Open. Well, here we go now.
Dye Rees. Golfers throughout the world will miss him. Now, before we close, a roundup of tonight's news from David Icke.
Well, it's the end of the line for England in the European Football Championships tonight, and there's news coming in of their fans going on the rampage after the match in Luxembourg. The latest reports say they've wrecked cars, smashed windows and looted shops. A police inspector said the damage runs into millions of francs. He said at least 12 fans had been arrested and the vandalism was still continuing. Well, Brian Robson scored twice as England beat Luxembourg 4-0, but Denmark's winning Greece this afternoon means they go through at England's expense. Bobby Robson, the England manager, said he won't be panicked into major changes. You don't demolish everything just because of what happened tonight, he said. It's a time to be patient. Peter Nicholas of Crystal Palace is carried off with a serious knee injury as Wales lose 1-0 in Bulgaria, and they must now beat Yugoslavia to be certain of qualifying. Eamon Bannon scores the Scotland goal in East Germany, but they lose 2-1 and finish bottom of the Group 1 table. But Norman Whiteside there provides the result of the day. He scored the goal for Northern Ireland that gives them a magnificent 1-0 win in West Germany. The first time a European team has won there for 9 years.
Two things to look forward to on BBC television later this week. At 9:25 on BBC 2 Friday night, live coverage of the new Torvill and Dean ice dance routine that we mentioned earlier. And then on Saturday from Twickenham, the Rugby Union International between England and New Zealand, the final match of the All Blacks tour. The kick-off in Grandstand is at 2:30. And so on a night when Barry McGuigan won the European featherweight title in Belfast, we say good night.
Now this might be the end for Narty. Round 6, and he cowers away from a punch. And it's surely all over. It was the body shots that got him. Those punches went in thick and fast. The towel comes in anyway, but the referee had already decided, and Barry McGuigan becomes the 5th Northern Ireland boxer to lift a European championship.
Some of the finest moments in sporting history are captured in this BBC video cassette, Harry Carpenter's Videobook of Sport, Volume 2. It's available for sale or rental from official BBC stockists. Newsnight on BBC 2 now includes the latest from the Lebanon and a review of tonight's Reith lecture, which called for radical reforms in the government machine. Here on BBC One, more words of wit and occasional wisdom from One Night in Lincoln with Mike Harding.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Classical music. Let's start. You didn't know it was an evening of classical music, didn't you? I'm going to do one of Rip His Corsets Off's numbers, and then... No, actually, I was going to do one of Beethoven's numbers, but he never does none of mine, so I thought, well, bugger it. Instead, what I would like to do for you now, actually, if I can play it on this instrument here, I'm going to play one of Tchaikovsky's numbers, one of Tchaikovsky's better-known numbers that you probably know quite well, the 1812 Overture. I'm good. Do you think I'm kidding or what? I'm going to do the 1812 Overture, but I'm going to do the short version, because I don't know if you know this, he wrote two versions of everything. He wrote a long version and a short version, and he used to prefer the short version himself, because he used to get out a puff on the mouth organ blowing the long ones. So I'm going to do the short version of the 1812 Overture, and with no words in it. There are no words in it. It's because I don't know if you know the words to the 1812 Overture. They're very boring. They're really just... It's just Napoleon crying all the time, you know. Cold feet and snow and moaning about chilblains. So I'm going to do for you now the 1812 Overture, complete with bombs, explosions, the works. You get the full Monty with this in about half a minute. Here we go. 1812 Overture. I don't smoke usually, it's terrible. And now for all pop lovers in the audience, a song that was in the hit parade about a year back. It was called Whim Away, first made famous by a bloke called Carl Denver, and later recorded by the Bum Boy Darts Band, I think they were called. And if you feel like joining in, there's a yodeling bit in the middle. You can all get stuck into that if you like, you know. Or if you don't feel like joining in, just grab bits of the person sat next to you. It doesn't help the song, but it gives me something to look at while I'm sat here. And I'll play this as far away from my body as I can, and if it slips back, there'll be another yodeling chorus and a Morris dance. Here we go. Whim Away. It's not bad, it's not wonderful, it's not bad. 12 pints of draft bass we put away. 12 pints of draft bass we put away. All the pavement, the rubber pavement as we went. All the pavement, the rubber pavement as we went wobbling home. a chicken chow mein to take away. Take away, take away, a chicken chow mein to take away. Take away, take away. On the river, on the bridge, on the river, the lion roars tonight. Yoruba! On the river, on the bridge, on the river, the lion roars tonight. Ruth! See his false teeth swim away. Swim away. Thank you. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, at no great expense, but at great risk to life and limb, I'm going to play this for you. I don't know what it's called. I think it's a thing with strings that you hit with these onium. What do you think of it, Arthur? Well, I think it's actually a toast rack from Scunthorpe, I'd say. Exploding breadboard. No, actually, I think it's a giant egg slicer. I don't know what it's called. It's called Armored Dulcimer or something. I'm going to play some Irish tunes on it. The first one's a slow air called Bula Vogue. Didn't mean a lot, that to you, I see, right? But I have to explain it's a slow air because I forgot to tell them that in Birmingham, and they thought because I was playing it slow, I didn't know it. They're all sat there going, how he doesn't know it, like, you know. Because they've got Liverpool accents in Birmingham. And the second one's called If Work Was in Bed, I'd Sleep on the Floor. And the third one's called Don't Kick the Dog Up the Bum When You Got Your Fingers in His Mouth. Something like that. OK. Settle down, it's art, this. Right. You ready, Hans? Right. Shh. interesting characters of Britain, number 7 in a series of 394. The ladies' man, otherwise known as the Great Chatsby. A 2.5-legged mammal that resides in various parts of the country. Some of you must know these characters. There's a pub not far from here called the Duke William, and they all get in there, millions of them. Millions of them, the wine bar cowboys sailing in there on the hunt. And they've all got the same uniform on. They've all got the shirts open down to the navel, the gold bullion medallion hanging down here. All the rings all over their hands, the gold identity bracelet round here with Morris on it. As soon as you say that, all the Morrises in the audience will all go, oh, it's not fair, it's not fair. All trying to take the bracelets off and hide them, you know. And they've got those big watches on, you know, big huge watches, like them big things with like, they've got all, they can tell, all digital, rotary, electric and all this business, and you can press them and they'll tell you the month and the date and the time and the year and what the weather's like in Nicaragua, you know, and they'll get your wrist started on a frosty morning and all this sort of thing, you know. So I believe. Mind you, I've heard it's better than a goblin tease made, but I don't know anything about these things because I just get up and put the kettle on, you know. And they come in the bar and they've got these trousers on. Have you seen the trousers they wear? They're amazing. The spray-on trousers. You can't buy them. You've got to be born in them. They're amazing. From behind, it's like 2 rabbits in a poacher's bag going down the street. And they come in. And it's marvellous. A big bunch of keys. Huge big bunch of keys. And they sort of waltz across the bar like looking around. And these guys are absolutely amazing. They've got this inbuilt radar apparatus. They can find an unattached girl at 40 miles. It sort of goes... And so it comes over, drops this bunch of keys with a fob on it that says, Jensen Dormobile. Jensen Dormobile. It's a minivan on 4 piles of bricks round the corner. It's absolutely clapped out, absolutely clapped out. And it, you know, as it showed up on these bricks and sort of 10:30 he gets a bit, they go in the van and it starts moving on its own, you know, and drunks going past bless themselves as they're walking past the van. And he comes in, drops the keys and he looks at this girl, finds this girl on her own, and he leans in, and this voice is developed by eating broken glass and old 78s and Brillo pads. He leans in and he goes, hi. Sounds like a frog with his bum on fire, doesn't it? He says, dead original, he says, tell me, what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? I'm with my friend Dory. Oh, gee, that's great. I mean, where's Dory? She's in the ladies again. I told her about that at work. We work at the ice cream factory down the road, and she's always sitting on them boxes of lollies. She's got systemitis. And then he begins the great Chatsby routine. He looks her very deeply into the eyes, smiles with his sort of viviscipatting moustache, just crinkle up the corner of his mouth, and he says, tell me, haven't we met someplace before? You know, I mean, were you in Ibiza this year on Mystique, or did you go skiing, or anything like that, or were you in Bermuda? No, me and Doreen went to Cleethorpes. We caught crabs off the pier. And he steps back a bit, then he said, yeah, that's great, yeah? He says, listen, you know, okay, maybe we haven't met somewhere before, but I looked across the room tonight and I saw you, and I saw you seeing me, seeing you, and I just came across, and I don't know, there was just something about it, you know, babe. I mean, you and I were just like ships that pass in the night, you know, across this great ocean of tears, and I think sometimes ships that pass in the night should maybe say hello to each other, you know. Are you a sailor? You don't look like what? No, it's just a figure of speech. Look at, how about I buy you a drink, okay? Yeah, all right, I'll have a drink, I'll have a pint of traffic lights. A pint of what? You never heard of traffic lights? It's a pint of traffic lights. You get equal parts of creme de menthe, drambuie and cherry brandy. And you put them in so they don't disturb each other, and you get red, yellow and green, and I'll drink it. A pint of traffic lights? Yeah, I love them. They're great, they are. 3 of them and anybody's. Oh, right. Pedro? 3 pints of traffic lights for the lady here. And I'll have, he looks in his wallet, a glass of ice water, okay? Ciao, baby. Ciao. Ciao. What a load of rubbish. He's a welder all week. Saturday night, ciao. The waiter comes back. 3 pints of traffic lights. She puts them down her neck, one after the other. Wallop, wallop, wallop. He said, are you okay? Yes, she said, they're very nice, them. I like them. Good. You going to buy me another one? Another pint of traffic lights? Yeah. It'd get you drunk, wouldn't it? Who you call him, wouldn't it, bumface, eh? Well, you've got to end the story somehow, haven't you? You know what I mean? I know I wrote a song. Don't worry, it'll never live. I wrote a song called A Ladies' Man, and it's about one of these ladies' men who comes to a very sticky end, okay? You get me in trouble, you lot, you know. It's not me, this. A ladies' man, okay, right, here we go. Not here to enjoy yourselves, right? He was a ladies' man, wah, wah, a real Don Juan, wah, wah. Round all the dance halls and all of the discos, all of the bar rooms and all of the bistros, with wives and sweethearts, sisters and widows, and even the occasional grand. From 9 to 5, wah, wah, to keep himself alive, wah, wah. He worked at the co-op slicing bacon, sending the ladies home hearts aching, with nostrils flaring and pupils dilating at the way he packed their pork. There's nothing rude about that, you know. With his brill-creamed hair, mohair suit, cigarette holder and blue suede shoes, like the man that got into the chicken coop. He was a ladies' man. He was a married man, wah, wah, this deceitful Don Juan, wah, wah. While his wife got ready for the Weight Watchers Club, he told her he was going playing darts down the pub, kept his Don Juan suit in a wooden tub, and got changed in the garden shed. 7 nights a week, wah, wah, this Scunthorpe chic, wah, wah. Oiled his toupee and trimmed his tash, pressed his suit till it looked dead flash, and since he was going off out on the mash, made sure he got his packet of 4. With his brill-creamed hair, mohair suit, cigarette holder and blue suede shoes, like the fox that got into the chicken coop. He was a ladies' man at the Tropicana, wah, wah. He met a lass called Anna, wah, wah. With his billiard chalk stuck behind his ear, he fixed his face in a seductive leer. Bought a packet of scratchings, a pint of beer, some crisps and a pickled egg. All through the night, wah, wah, he held her tights, wah, wah. Talked of love and her beautiful eyes, said they'd dance in the park neath the starry skies, and with breathy kisses and tender sighs, they went to get a donkey jacket, this brill-creamed hair, mohair suit, cigarette holder and blue suede shoes, like the fox that got into the chicken coop. He was a ladies' man in the Corporation Park, wah, wah, near the Bull's Hut in the dark, wah, wah. He tickled her knees and squeezed her hips, kissed her ears and nibbled her lips, tickled her knees and touched her fingertips, and reached for his packet of 3. He lost one. He undid her dress, wah, wah, slid his hand inside her vest, wah, wah. But what he found was a real shocker, 'cause instead of a soft, warm pair of knockers was the hairy chest of a very gay docker who'd shaved just an hour before. This little green hair, mohair suit, cigarette holder and blue suede shoes, like the fox that got into the chicken coop. He was a ladies' man. He turned and ran, wah, wah, this confused man, wah, wah. But before he'd reached the pitch and putt, he was grabbed at the back of the parky's hut, and without benefit of clergy or a nip and butt, became a man's man as well. Now, this ladies' man, wah, wah, one-time Don Juan, wah, wah, stays in by the fireside every night, away from the dance halls and bright city lights, and strange ladies with hair growing out through their tights, and a bad case of barber's rash. There's perfumed hair, no more mohair suit, no more cigarette holder, no more blue suede shoes, like the fox that met a bulldog in the chicken coop. He once was a ladies' man. Bodie-o. Thank you. Thank you. This is a serious song, and it's a song about the First World War, and it's about a group of lads called the Arrington Pals. In 1916, the generals found that they were running out of men to send before the cannon and have mown down. So they decided to adopt a new recruiting policy, and they got all the Lord Mayors of a lot of towns, particularly in the north of England, to get lads from the same villages and the same areas and the same streets, been to the same schools and worked in the same factories, to come together, and they formed the Pals battalions. And there was the Sheffield Pals, the Leeds Pals, the Barnsley Pals, Manchester, Salford. And Accrington was the smallest town in Britain to send a full battalion of 1,000 men to the army. And 750 of these lads came from an area right in the centre of the town of about 20, 30 streets. And they joined up and went away to war. And on the first day of the Battle of the Somme in 1916, the generals told them all it was going to be a pushover, and at the signal that morning they'd all walk over the top, and there'd be this big push, and they'd take over the German trenches. What the generals didn't know was that the Germans were in deep underground bunkers, and as soon as our lads started going over the top, the Germans came up and just wiped them down in wave after wave after wave. Of 100,000 men that went over the top that day, 22,000 were killed and 350,000 were wounded. And of the Arrington Pals, of those 750 lads, 285 were killed and 350 were wounded. And there wasn't a family in Accrington that had not lost a father, a son, or some relative. And the town was absolutely devastated, and it's said that it's never really got over it till this day. And this song just tells a simple story of what happened to 7 of the lads that were in the Arrington Pals that I knew had been in it from having gone to the library and researched the material for the song. And I do this in a spirit of anti-war, if you like, because I've travelled all over the world, and to me the most stupid thing that can ever happen to anybody is war. And I have actually worked out what causes wars now. I've got a theory of history that's going to go down in the textbooks. Wars are caused by politicians. If there were no politicians, there'd be no wars. So I'm forming my own political party called the STP Party. Stuff the politicians. And in that spirit, I'd like to dedicate this song to the town of Accrington and the Arrington Pals. I do it also because I've never ceased to be amazed at the way in which old generals will send young men happily off to die in battle. Here it is, the Arrington Pals. Smoky town where they were born, down in the valley, smoky little streets. They were pals from childhood days, climbing trees and running through the fields. And they all played together through the turning of the years, sharing their laughter, sharing all their fears. The seasons saw them growing, and the seasons passing turned them round. Through the changing years, the Arrington Pals. School days end, the lads all went to work, some spinning, some weaving in the sheds, on the land or down the pit, working hard to earn their daily bread. And they all went walking up old Pendle Hill. On Sundays the lark sang high above the dales. Little Willie Riley played his mandolin and sang. They were laughing, they were smiling then. The Arrington Pals. 1916 came the call. We need more lads to battle with the Hun. Lads of Lancashire, heed the call. With God on our side, the battle will soon be won. So they all came marching to the beating of the drums. Down from the fields and factories they'd come, smiling at the girls who came to see them on their way. They were marching, marching, marching away. The Arrington Pals. Sky shining on that perfect day. Larks were singing high above the sun. Brothers fowls and fathers lay, watching that sweet bird sing in the quiet of the dawn. And they all went walking out towards the howling guns, talking and laughing, calmly walking on, believing in the lives that left them dying in the mud. And they're lying, lying, lying still. The Arrington Pals. Smoky town that heard the news, down in the valley, smoky little streets, houses quiet and curtains drawn, all round the town a silent shroud of grief. And the larks were singing still above old Pendle Hill. The wind was in the bracken and the sun was shining still. The larks were singing sweetly as evening fell upon the sun. And Edward Parkinson, Bobby Henderson, Billy Clegg, Johnny Malloy, Norman Jones, Albert Berry, Willie Riley. The Arrington Pals.
Thank you. Thank you. There's more from Mike Harding's One Night in Lincoln next Wednesday at 11:05. In a couple of minutes on BBC1, naturalist Phil Drabble opens his photo albums to share his memories in What a Picture. That's after the news headlines from John Humphreys.
Yasser Arafat and his PLO fighters face defeat tonight. They've been driven out of the Badawi refugee camp by rival guerrillas supported by Syria. They've nowhere left to go now except Tripoli, and that city has been coming under fire. Arafat says he won't leave Lebanon while his men are still in danger. It's reported up to 200 have been killed in the fierce fighting. The United Nations passed a resolution tonight urging Britain and Argentina to negotiate over the Falklands. The United States was among